Hi guys, Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am here with an all thrift haul. I didn't go to the bins at all. I know a lot of you guys out there don't have access to a bins location or an outlet location near you, so I figured once a month or so I would go and do an entire week's worth of sourcing at the thrift store and kind of walk through the type of stuff that I'm looking for, really the profit margins that I'm aiming for. And I'm not gonna lie, I find some really good stuff at the thrifts here in the LA area. And honestly, it's kind of a luxury shopping experience for me at this point when I'm so used to going to the bins. Anyway, before we get started here, guys, if this is your first time here, if this is your first time stumbling on my channel, first and foremost, welcome. I am Julia. That is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and the business of reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, I think I've got about 30 or 35 pieces here. So we've got a lot to talk about. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink. You know I've got my matcha latte. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the goods. So to start this off, I had a bunch of questions the last time I did something like this about the prices that I pay per item. So I went to 4 different stores on 4 different days, and everything that I bought was in the standard thrift pricing. So dresses were either like $9 or $10, t-shirts would be like $3 to $4, and then like sweaters and stuff like that were in like the $7 to $8 range. There were a few pieces in here that were half off, and if I remember which ones those were, I'll note it. Off the top of my head, I can think of a few things that I know were half price, but for the most part, everything was like standard Los Angeles thrift pricing. I went to Salvation Armies, I went to Goodwill's, and I went to like a local place. So pricing is slightly different, but for the most part, nothing here was in like a jacked up price range. So let's jump into it. So the first piece we have here is this gorgeous dress. This is from Lioness. Now Lioness is kind of like an upscale fast fashion brand, but it is a brand that is pretty red hot right now. Everything I've ever gotten from Lioness has sold really well for me. That is the label there. Pretty easy to spot, but this is an off the shoulder drop waist. So this is kind of like a basque waist. It does dip down in the front. Midi length knit sweater dress. This is all pleated. I don't know how well that's showing on the camera, but this is a pleated skirt. So sold comps for this dress are between like the $50 and $100 range. I think the $100 ones that I saw were new with tags. And Lioness, like retail, is not crazy expensive. It's not cheap by any sense of the word. It's not Shein prices, but I want to say that this probably retailed like $80 or $90. But because Lioness is one of those brands that really cleverly seeds out to like influencers, things can sell out and drive the prices up on the secondhand market. You'll see that with things like House of CB, right? Like same kind of concept. But either way, this was a great find. Next up, now this dress, I couldn't figure out what it was until I got it home, but it was so nice and had so many style cues about it that I was all about, that I just kind of took a gamble on it. So it's this beautiful lightweight cotton in this pretty green kind of like organic polka dot print. And it's a basic kind of fit and flare with a tiered skirt, but you see the big floppy pockets. This read a little bit login look for me, so I grabbed it. It is just the softest cotton. And the brand on this and the designer on this is Nayla Rubia. Like in store, I couldn't really read it, right? Like that second letter looks like a C. So I brought it home and I did like a Google search for the tag and was pleasantly surprised with what I found. She makes basically a couple different silhouettes of dresses in different prints. From what I understand, these are all block prints, which means that they're like done by hand using a block. If you are unfamiliar with the process of block printing, you should go and watch a YouTube video on how it's done, because it's really, really fascinating and such a cool art form, but it really results in very unique prints. And on the resale market, her dresses range again between like $50 and $150. Now I'm sure that there are certain prints that are a little bit more in demand or whatever the case may be. I haven't done too deep into it, but I would anticipate probably no less than about $50 for this dress. And it is just, I mean, so soft, so lightweight, so airy, just absolutely gorgeous. This is also a size large, extra large. So that also exciting. And this is such a full skirt. So absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so this one, now I don't know if you watched my log and look video. If you didn't, I'll link it down below. If you're interested, you should go check it out. I talk about some of my favorite log and look brands. And so many people in the comments were like, you forgot Bryn Walker, you forgot Bryn Walker. And like, I didn't forget Bryn Walker, but I do kind of always forget Bryn Walker because I never, ever, ever see her pieces. I don't see them in the thrift. I don't see them in the bins. And I mean, I've been to the bins in the thrift store hundreds of times since I lived here, and I've never seen a single one. I would reply to these comments with that. And then bam, like I walk into the thrift store and there she is. Great Log and Look brand, really high quality stuff, pretty expensive new, but like, again, these are lifetime purchases. So this is just a cute little like navy blue linen knee length dress. It's a size small. It's got the classic, unique, oversized pocket here. Really a very simple piece. And you know, Bryn Walker, depending on the piece that you get, could go well into like the $100 and over territory. For something like this, I'll probably see somewhere between 50 and 75 bucks. And I just no doubt that this will go quickly. This is such a great little like one piece closet staple for the Log and Look person, or for the person who just loves linen, because this is not too over the top in terms of the Log and Look details. That should sell pretty quickly, no problem. Next up, I found this cute, speaking of linen, this cute little butter yellow, still very, very popular. No longer like the color of the season, but still very popular, and spring is right around the corner. So this is from Reformation. If you are unfamiliar with that label, you should get familiar with that label. Very expensive brand that does primarily, like their whole goal is sustainability. So a lot of the pieces that they make are using like remnant textiles. So they'll go to like a bigger design house and buy their remnant pieces and make items from it. But I obviously don't know the origin here, but this is, again, just like a cute little butter yellow smocked back mini dress. It's a size 4, which can slow pieces down, but I have found that it does not slow my Reformation pieces down nearly as much as some other brands. I think that this appeals to a lot of like college girls, and this should go in no time flat. This particular dress, I forget what the name of it is. I have it in my spreadsheet. I'll put it on the screen. Has some pretty serious sold comps. It looks like the last couple sold comps of that dress in particular were over $100. And a couple of years ago, like if you found anything from Reformation, you could pretty reasonably expect close to $100 or over $100 on pretty much anything, and you know, over $200 for a lot of the dresses. But the overall price of Reformation on the resale market has come down a little bit, but this one in particular seems to be selling kind of at the old prices. So a win's a win. Oh my goodness. Okay, next up. This one was one that I felt, I did not know this brand at all, but it is this like absolutely butter soft, looks like flannel, feels like gauze. So I'm not quite sure what this weave is, but it feels almost plush and like super lightweight. It feels like gauze without the crinkle, but it looks kind of warm weathery. But it's from a brand called the Lost Explorer. I'm so interested if any of you guys have had any experience with this brand, which was founded by David de Rothschild, like of those Rothschilds. But this is an entirely like eco-centric clothing line. I don't know if it's still in business. I went to their website. They have a few things, but no like basics like this. So I'm gonna guess that they're at least winding it down, but the quality on this is absolutely positively outrageous. The details are gorgeous. Like look at the way, so it's got a covered placket, but like look at the details along the way. Just gorgeous. So this retailed about $240. I wanna say that that was about the retail on this. And on the resale market, I would reasonably expect to see probably like $40, $50 for this. I may also see if my husband wants this because this is right up his alley. I just don't know if it'll fit him, but if not, I'll sell it. But man, the quality on this is so gorgeous, and it's double faced, right? Come on, you know I'm such a sucker for details. Next up, we've got an Eileen Fisher here, and this is a beautiful, oversized, breezy silk tunic. I guess this is tunic length, but this is a size extra large, and it's in fantastic condition. Now, I pick up Eileen Fisher pretty much any size that I see. I see a surprisingly large amount of extra small Eileen Fisher out here, but it still sells very well for me. It's always a treat when I can find it in extra large and up. And if you are somebody who is sourcing at full price at the thrift, like this, oh, this one was half price, but this would have been $7 full price. So if you're somebody that is sourcing for full price, I would probably try to keep to the larger sizes in Eileen Fisher, because they do tend to sell for a much better price, where like your extra smalls and even your mediums to a certain extent are gonna sell probably more in the bread and butter range. So you just have to make sure that like your profit margin is where you want it to be. But so for me, when I see an extra small Eileen Fisher, unless it's like a really exceptional piece in the regular thrift store at regular thrift prices, I generally pass on it. In fact, I passed on 2 or 3 other pieces this same day, but I will confidently pay up for the larger sizes. So pretty much large, extra large, and up, especially if you can get into the plus sizes, well worth the investment. Next up, I found a little golf quarter zip. This is from Peter Millar. Peter Millar is a pretty high-end golf brand. It has come down a bit in the resale value. You always want to keep your eyes out for the little crown logo there. But this is just, again, like a little mid-weight thermal half zip. And like retail on this is like $250. It's so spendy. This is a size extra large. And for something like this from Peter Millar, I'll probably see like $40, $50, maybe a little bit more for it. I have to do a little bit more research. I know that there is nuance to what sells well from Peter Millar and what doesn't. So I'll do a little bit more research on it, but I would reasonably expect probably 40, 50 bucks on something like this. And finally, my last piece from this particular store where I spent $62. Tell me how much I wish I could keep this for myself. So this is 100% linen robe, but it's like a linen waffle. Oh my God, this is everything I want in my life. Now, here's the weird thing. There's no tag on the inside and there's no like remnants of a tag. So you know that whatever it wasn't like a top stitched or a miter fold label. That usually means that it was like a tipped in label. So here's the thing. This is obviously 100% linen and it is unfortunately a size small, which you know how much this is breaking my heart. The label on the inside says Alma, and I have not been able to find anything about Alma linens, Alma robes, or anything like that anywhere on the internet. I found a couple robes that are called Alma, like within their brand, but that's not the brand. This is obviously a brand label, so I need to learn. It's made in Lithuania. It is gorgeous, lightweight, textured linen. Even without a brand on this, I'll probably see like 75 to 80 bucks on it, maybe a little bit more, just because this is so unique. Oh God, I wish this was my size. But I'll do a little bit more research. If you are familiar with Alma, maybe this is something that's like sold only to like the hospitality trade. There's no logos on it, but maybe this is something that was in like, you know, the Amangiri or something. But this is so unique, so gorgeous, and I am simply heartbroken that this is not my size, so. But either way, try to keep me away from something like this at the thrift store or at the bins. I dare you. Next up, we've got this beautiful little silk camisole. This is from a brand called Flores and Flores, which I don't think is around anymore. I'm pretty sure, just going by silhouette on this, that this is Y2K vintage. We wore a lot of tops like this that were a little bit longer, kind of more from like 2005 to like 2010, like the late aughts, which again, keep your eyes on it. I've obviously got my eyes on the fashion world. I think that we're gonna start to see that kind of like twee indie sleeves and this kind of fashion really rearing its head pretty hard, though this will go easily with anything Y2K. This is gorgeous quality silk. It's a size 6, it's cream. This should sell in no time. This one was $2.99 and I found it in the sleepwear section. As I always say, don't sleep on sleepwear. You can find some great things there. This otherwise probably would have been like $4.99 or $5.99. But on the resale market, I'll probably see somewhere between like 30 and 50 on this. I'll have to do a little bit more research on the brand of that, but typically when you find like vintage silk pieces, you're at like $30 and up. Typically when you find like that era's silk camisoles, they start at about $30 and they go up. Obviously, preference right now is going towards the one with like the lace trim, right? The real like lingerie inspired ones, but something like this still very in demand. Oh, next up, this is going to be kind of a tough one to show, but this is Calypso St. Barth. That is the logo that you are looking for in case you are unfamiliar. And this is just not going to show well on screen, but this is a little wrap dress. So it's mini length, it's a full wrap silhouette, and then it's got little cap sleeves like that. So just a great little summer resort wear, little black dress, closet staple basic. It's this beautiful kind of crisp 100% silk. It's got a little bit of like a dramatic drape color. It's a little bit more bodyful than a silk like this. It's almost like a really lightweight taffeta, but it's stunning and definitely something I'll photograph on the mannequin so you can get like the silhouette of it when I photograph it. But Calypso St. Barth, very, very, very expensive brand. They're based, of course, out of St. Barth, and retail on dresses similar to that is in the like $500 to $700 range. And on the resale market, I should see reasonably, somewhere north of $50. It is a size extra small, so that might slow it down a little bit, but because it is such like a closet staple, closet basic, it's very appealing to, many, many, many different people. So it shouldn't slow it down that much, but all the Calypso pieces that I've found have resold for fantastic prices. So definitely a brand to be on the lookout for. Next up, oh, this amazing Eileen Fisher linen open weave sweater. I mean, this is so my flavor of stuff that I love to pick up. It's 100% linen. It's lightweight, open weave, crew neck, very like classic silhouette. This is such a forever sweater. And when you have sweaters like this, when you have that like open weave thing going on with it, especially if it's linen, I make sure that I use like beachy beach sweater. Like this is the kind of thing if you're like down the shore and you've been in like a tank top all day and you hit nighttime and it's a little bit chillier, but it's not like super chilly. This is the kind of thing you'll throw on over that tank top. And this is very coastal grandmother, Nancy Myers, you know, all of that vibe. Something like this from Eileen Fisher probably retailed like $350 to $400. And on the resale market, I will probably see like $40 to $50 on this, maybe a little bit more. It's perfectly minimalist. It's just a very easy piece to work into any wardrobe. So love it. I will pick that kind of stuff up anytime I see it from Eileen Fisher. Had to warm up the lights a little bit. It's pretty gray outside, so I was looking pretty ghastly. Now I look somewhat alive. Oh, next up. Okay, so this was a cool find. So this is one of those weird and well-made pickups. So I actually found this on the ground. This has a very wide neck, so it slid right off of the hangers, which is like very common, at least in our stores here. But I saw this, and this was just so unusual to me. This is like a lightweight mesh here, and then this is a really nice like cotton ribbing. And it's got this really unusual printing on it. It's got some language about photography in French. And then when you look at the front, it says objective photo. Again, that kind of artfully off-center placement. But underneath, you see Cope Copine, which was a pretty high-end niche designer, but they had a real pop in like the Y2K era, and this is Y2K vintage. So again, beautifully made. This is just something that kind of piqued my interest. Always be on the lookout for these weird things, because number one, weird sells, and weird and well-made sells very well. And this is weird and well-made. Sold comps on similar shirts. If you ever look them up, they had these like graphic images, but they were kind of like cut up and patched together on shirts. It's very distinctively like late 90s, early Y2K vibe. Like as I was going through them, I was trying to think of like where I saw them. I'm sure I've seen them worn like in movies, but I could not think of it. But either way, this will probably resell in the $75 to $100 range. So A, a brand to be on the lookout for. B, just another note to like trust your senses. You can always put stuff back. If something kind of piques your interest, don't walk right past it, put it in your cart, look it up, take some time with it. You can always put it back on the rack. But this was a perfect case of something that kind of like, what are you? And it ended up being one of the better finds from that thrift store that day. So color me happy. And it's teeny tiny, takes up no space in storage. Please let me know if you have ever found anything from Cope Copine, or if I'm saying that totally wrong, because I've only seen that name written out. Oh, next up, I found this great gauze shirt. This is from Outer Known. Definitely a brand you should be keeping your eyes out for, worth paying up for. They do a lot of these like high-end basics, lots of, again, eco-friendly fabrics. One of you guys had mentioned that this was at least partially founded by Kelly Slater, the world-famous surfer. And that so tracks. Feels, again, I think it's based in Malibu, and it has a very like Malibu minimalist vibe to it. But this probably retailed about like $145. They're very, very pricey. And on the resale market, I should see somewhere like $35 to $50 on this. Outer Known stuff resells very, very well for me. The only thing that I've ever had from Outer Known that is still hanging in my closet, and when I say that, I mean like everything else is sold within like a month, is a men's shirt that's extra small, which is just an unusual size, even more so than like a women's extra small. So definitely a brand to be on the lookout for. Definitely a brand to confidently pay up for. Really, really good stuff, and they resell fantastically. All right, up next, we've got another Calypso piece. This one has a different tag on it. So this one says Calypso by Christian Selle, Kelly, C-E-L-L-E. I discovered, I don't know, about a year ago through another actually linen piece that I found, that is the founder of Calypso. So if you see Calypso St. Barth, that is basically the same thing as this, and they should sell similarly, but this is a little linen cap sleeve dress. It's super cute, natural color. Great little basic faux wrap neckline. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. This one is, again, a size small, so it might slow it down a little bit, but again, I should see north of $40, $50 on this piece. I love Calypso stuff, and I can't believe I found 2 pieces in a week. That's one of those brands that I find once or twice a year usually, even in the thrifts. Next up, I know that this is one of the ones that I got for half price, but you know how much I love my Sundance, and this feels so core Sundance. This is ultra lightweight cotton lawn in this beautiful pink gingham, and if you look really closely, the gingham is made of like individual little lines. It's so cute. It's got these blouson sleeves. The sleeves tie at the end. Like, I know a million people that would wear this shirt and absolutely love it. So it's nice and blousy. It's got a pin tuck detail in the front, some little ladder stitch detail down the placket, ladder stitch again in the back. It's from Sundance and it's in perfect condition. Now this is one that I would use like both like boho and Western keywords on this one, because this absolutely goes with a Western wardrobe. I will probably see somewhere between $30 and $40 on this, maybe a little bit more. It's got a lot going for it. It's really, really lovely. And again, now that Sundance is gone, which is so sad, I would expect these pieces to increase a little bit in value, just because you can't go to the catalog or go to a store anymore and pick it up. Love Sundance stuff. And I'm pretty sure that that is the first piece that I've found since I got the news that the store is closing. So next up, I wanted to get the other one that I knew that I got half price, and this is a little Vineyard Vines top. This is just a little blue and white stripe, crisp cotton. I love this embroidery. For me, like, blue and green is my favorite color combination. It is just forever so chic. These were found right next to each other. They might have come from the same house. That would kind of track, but it's got this pretty embroidery all the way down the sleeves. It's bigger than you think it is when you see it from the front, but this nice kind of significant embroidery down the side, all around the neck, down the placket, little split neck, tunic pop over, something like this from Vineyard Vines. Again, probably somewhere in that like $35 range. Vineyard Vines sells really well for me, and I absolutely love it. And I did get both of those shirts half price. Next up, this sweater is absolutely stunning. So this is a really subtle houndstooth pattern. Honestly, the pattern is showing a little bit more pronounced on camera than it is in real life. It's very, very subtle. And this is from Lou Dalton and a collaboration she did with Jaeger. And I think I'm saying that right. Lou Dalton is a big name in menswear. Her pieces are very, very, very expensive. You know, on the resale, you're looking generally like north of $50 up to $500, $600, $700, depending on what you've got. And this was a collaboration that she did with Jaeger, the menswear seller. And this is 100% wool crew neck, absolutely gorgeous. It's a size extra large. I want to say that this sweatshirt in particular retailed like $300 or $400, very, very pricey. And you can feel it. Like, the quality is like outrageous on this sweater. Like, you can feel it. And it's absolutely a classic cut, classic style, classic color, everything about this. This is like a lifetime sweater. So on the resale market, I'm probably going to see somewhere between $50 and $100 on this. And I will say, I'm looking at the tag here, this was $12, which is marked up. Most of the sweaters at that store were like $8. So this was a little bit jacked up, but not to a crazy. I know that some of you guys have told me that you're seeing kind of bread and butter brands that are at like $20. I know personally I've seen like North Face hoodies for $16 when you have something like this right next to it for like $4 less, even though this is up priced a little bit. But this, I'm pretty sure this is the only exception to everything in this haul where it was priced up outside of like the normal kind of brackets for prices. Next up, this is a brand that you never get to see. This is Spell and the Gypsy. So I'm gonna guess that this was probably like a Rent the Runway piece. This is the older tag, and you can see that there's like a line through it. The newer tag just says Spell in big block letters, and absolutely positively you should be keeping your eyes out for it. This is just a little pink open knit kind of textured cardigan sweater, and it's super soft. I believe it's 100% cotton. Yep, 100% cotton. And this probably retailed for like $250. Spell and the Gypsy is crazy expensive and resells for crazy dollar amounts. I just recently had a portobello dress, which is all rayon, which will never cease to amaze me. You know, the style was beautiful. It was beautifully cut, but that retailed for like $250, and I think that sold for like $110. So it's definitely a brand you should have on your radar. But this sweater in particular has resold between like $50 and $100. So again, just with the silhouette of it, it's kind of like an oversized boyfriend sweater, which does not show well really on a mannequin or on a hanger, so I might have to do a flat lay with this, but it's very cute. It's in great condition. It's got some very serious shell beads, which I love, and a great find. I mean, that is a brand, no matter what, even if it's an older style, worth paying up for, because you will get your money back and then some. Again, that dress that I found, that Portobello dress, I think is one of their older pieces. I think that's from like the 2015, 2016 era, and it's still sold for a great amount. So if you have a thrift store that's like jacking up prices on something like that, really high, do a comp, maybe don't pay $25 for something like that. But if you're finding it at like their standard, per item prices, you should probably pick those up every time. Next up, this is something that needs no introduction, at least to my hands. I was just kind of going through the racks, saw a basic little dark gray crew neck, didn't think much of it until I touched it, and I'm like, oh, that's Vuori. Their dream knit is one of the most distinctive feels to me. I can pick it out of a lineup in 2 seconds flat. Now, thing about Vuori, just like Lululemon, they usually have tear out labels. So a lot of times if you're just flipping through the racks, you're not going to see any label. But if you're flipping through the racks, you feel something very soft, and you look at the back neck, and the back neck is finished nicely like this. Yeah, you have that like kind of covering over the seam, and you don't see the remnants of any tag. So you don't see any like remnants of a screen print, or you don't see any remnants of a tag that's been cut out. You should pay attention and immediately look for other tells. In this case, there's the V down there on the corner. This is one of their logos. They also have a little like square logo that you'll see down at the hips. But the soft fabric and no signs of a tag on the back neck are a good clue that you might have either something from Lululemon or something from Vuori in your hands. I have sold probably 15 of this sweater, and I think that this is a size 2XL, which is great. Here's another this little tag is on the inside. Yeah, it's a size 2XL. I will probably get about $50 on this sweatshirt, and I will probably get that in about 2 days. These retail for, I want to say like $118. Vuori is just so expensive. Their stuff is so soft though. So if you were looking for a good like investment kind of tech shirt, it's a great place to do it. But this feels brand new. A lot of times I'll get this and they feel a little bit worked. This fabric does pill in like friction spots. It's super soft, so it's brushed on the surface, and anything that's brushed on the surface is going to pill at least a little bit at some point, but this feels absolutely brand new. So whoever had that didn't love it.
And I'm reaping all the benefits.
Next up, this is a knit and a label that needs no introduction. How about a Missoni sweater? What? So this is M by Missoni, which is technically, I believe, one of their diffusion lines, but it's got these cute little bell sleeves. It's like a long line cardigan, little wrap tie. It's in the color of the season, which we love. Anything from Missoni is gonna resell beautifully. The thing about Missoni is that they don't necessarily change with the trends. Like they have a very identifiable style signature, and they just kind of riff on that, and that's very successful for them. And why would they change? But again, it's just like a little long line cardigan, super soft merino wool. Resale on this is a size small, so I'll probably see somewhere like $40 to $75 on this. And then if this was like the regular Missoni line, so not M by Missoni, I'd probably be looking north of $100. So either way, a brand to be on the lookout for. And even this is one of the rare Target collabs that is worth picking up on the secondhand market. This was the first one that I remember absolutely blowing up in popularity and selling out super quickly. So there's still to this day a market for some of those pieces. So if you see a Missoni for Target piece out there and you're at like the, if you're at the bins, pick it up. But if you're at the regular thrift store and you're looking at a regular price, run a quick comp search because some of them are still going for a really good price. So a little hot tip. We are getting there, guys. Only a few to go. Next up, we've got this fun little piece from Jam's World. Now, Jam's World's an interesting one, and this is probably a little bit close to like the Hawaiian shirt collector's market. People collect Jam's World patterns. So there is a pretty high demand for a lot of Jam's World pieces. I've sold quite a few of them for great prices. This one's a size medium. This one feels like it's pretty new. Like this is the crispest I've ever seen one of these tags. A lot of the ones that I've found have been like old, probably from like the 80s or 90s, and you could barely read this. But this is just like a little sundress, midi length with a little flounce here at the hem. This is, what do they call this? This is the hibiscus forest pattern, and sold comps on this dress, there's two somewhat recent, and one was I think $50 and one was $75. So I'll anticipate somewhere in that range. Something that I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't sell until summer, but again, I will be using like resort wear keywords with that, so it might get it into that kind of earlier batch where people are shopping for their beach vacations, not just their, summertime wardrobe. Next up, we have this gorgeous little mini dress from Rami Brooke in the most beautiful royal blue. So this is just like a little satin. This is something, again, I'm gonna have to photograph on the mannequin to get like the gist of the dress. But Rami Brooke is a super expensive designer, really, really pricey. You'll see Rami Brooke worn a lot on like reality TV shows, but that also can help drive prices up. Ooh, this one was half off. So I paid $4.50 for this. So if you can find, and I always recommend that you do like a Google image search of pretty much everything that you're selling, because if you're able to find that it was worn by somebody, say this was worn by like Ariana Madix, right? She kind of blew up. You want to use like ASO, so as seen on, enter name here, because people will search for like, if she had actually worn this, people will search for like Ariana blue satin dress. And if you're able to come up under those search terms, like you are literally getting into the exact right eyes. The size tag has been cut out, but I believe that this is about a size like 6 or 8. I'll have to get measurements on it, but this probably retailed for about $400 or $500, and on the resale market, I'll probably see somewhere $50 to $100. So definitely a great brand. Love that color, and cannot wait to see what that looks like on the mannequin, because I think it's going to be really, really pretty once there's like a body supporting the intended silhouette. Oh my God. Next up, I had to get this. So this is a little vintage piece. This is a jacket. The jackets go for like $16, but I think that this will sell in no time flat. So this is vintage. I'm going to guess from like the very late 80s or early 90s, and I'll tell you why I'm dating it to like exactly then. So this is like a denim varsity style jacket. It's got Donna, this is Donna's jacket. This is what I love about it. So at first glance, it's just like a little red convertible. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, God, that really looks like a Miata. And this is a Mazda Miata. So Donna loved her Mazda Miata to the point that she had a Miata jacket made. So the Miatas, I think, debuted in 1989. It might have been 88 or 89, but they were like the dominant, flashy, affordable sports car of the 90s. Like they were it. And I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to drive a Miata, but they are so fun to drive. They're like little go-karts with a lot of power. And there's actually a collector's market for Miata stuff and Miata pieces. Like I'm in California and there's a big car culture out here. Like there are Miata clubs that you'll see every once in a blue moon. You'll see like a Miata club rolling by. So if you're able to find something from Miata, like a Miata branded piece, those things can go well into the hundreds of dollars. Something like this, I'll probably see like somewhere between $50 and $100. And the funny thing is, I don't know if it's going to go to somebody who is into Miatas or who is just into this style, because I think style-wise in general, this is a style that's being like used currently in streetwear. I don't know. I just had an immediate affinity for this jacket and I had to grab it. And I think I'm gonna get a very good price on it. It's really nicely made. I think it's actually Port Authority, and it's like perfectly broken in, just everything about this. Like I can see a million guys in Silver Lake wearing this jacket. I can also see a Donna who is into Miatas paying up for that. But either way, I just thought that was super cool. Am I crazy? Please let me know if you think I'm crazy. But my gut is usually spot on in stuff like that. So I'm so excited to see what I end up getting for it. And I'll try to report back. 4 more pieces to go. So the next thing I grabbed, oh my God, I wish you could get your hands on this sweater. So this, again, one of those things that I felt and was like, what is that? That is an extremely tight-knit navy blue wool sweater. This feels rich, rich. And I don't know how else to describe that. You know what I'm saying? Like this just feels like money. So this is from a brand called Paul and Shark, and they make yachting clothing. Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that anything that is like yachting centric is going to be a very high ticket item. There's not too many people in the middle class that are out hanging out on their yachts. Like maybe their boats, not their yachts. But this is an incredible sweater. I think this is called the Seaside sweater. This is one of their like classic styles. And it's got this like reinforced shoulder here. It's got a reinforced elbow. So this is like this feels like a performance sweater. It's 100% wool, but this doesn't feel like this is meant to be worn like casually. Like that tight knit is gonna keep a lot of the cold air out. And it's got those reinforcements in the kind of like friction places on your body. This sweater in particular, again, is like the icon of their brand. And it retails for like $420. $20. And on the resale market, I'll probably see somewhere between $50 and $100 on it. It's size large. It is in perfect condition. I think this might be a few years old because the newer ones have a slightly bigger logo here. This is like right on the top of the shoulder. This is like just such a gorgeous piece. But man, if you were to be able to feel, like, first of all, it's heavy. Like, this is a lot of wool, but this feels like money. I don't know how else to describe it, but this just feels like the sweaters that the hoi polloi do not get to get their hands on. Like, I have my hands on a lot of textiles and a lot of garments throughout the year. I probably have my hands on like 50,000 different sweaters during the year. That's probably not an exaggeration with the amount that I go through on a day at the bins or at the thrift. This feels unlike anything I've ever had my hands on. I don't know how else to describe it. This is just insanely well made. So what a treat, and a brand for sure to be on the lookout for, especially if you live somewhere along the coastline where there's a lot of like yacht activity. Keep your eyes out for that brand. It's very unassuming if you don't know what you're looking for and you're not somebody who really sources by feel. That is an easy brand to miss, but do not miss that brand. Oh my goodness, this is a designer that I am excited to find. I've only found one other piece and I kept it for myself. This is Dries Van Noten. Absolutely love his stuff. Dries Van Noten is probably one of the most well-known members of the Antwerp Six, which is a really influential group of designers out of Antwerp, of course. The other one that you might have heard of is Anne de Meulemeester. Beautiful stuff. Dries is very well known for his use of prints. This is really unusual. So it's a long line cardigan with these super fun bell sleeves in almost like a cheetah. Does that look like a cheetah print to you? I think that is a cheetah print. But the construction on this is unbelievable. It's got a little ruffle trim, so a little bit of like extra around the edge. This probably retailed over $1,000. I'm gonna see if I can find like this exact sweater because it is so unique. I'd love to find like the name of the sweater or the year that it came out because that matters for some of their pieces. But what an exciting find. The other piece that I found at the bins, and I'm pretty sure that I dove across the bin to get it. And I would have done it for this as well. Just being a fashion nerd, having pieces from designers like Dries Van Noten come through my hands is like a real kick. So this might take a little bit longer to sell. It is a pretty like bold sweater, but I will never mind that when it's a piece from somebody like Dries Van Noten. That's just me. I know that's not for everybody, but like for me, all day, I'll take that. I'll probably see somewhere like $100 to $200 on that, maybe a little bit more. Certain pieces from him do go well up into crazy prices. And this is one of those brands, and this is like a reminder for myself, because he's a lesser known designer, and like not to the fashion nerds, because anybody in fashion knows who he is, but to, you know, like it's not Gucci, it's not Chanel, but he's at that level, right? Like he sells at that level, he does couture at that level. Because he's not a name that's in like the common lexicon for like the everyday person, there are pieces from him that sell at crazy low prices. So while you'll never get a piece of Chanel or Gucci or Balmain or anything like that at like a bargain basement price, if you look hard enough and you hit the jackpot finding the right piece in the right size, like there's a chance that you will get a Dries Van Noten piece for, you know, $25, just because people don't know who he is. But if you didn't know who he was before now you know. So don't pass that stuff up, and do hold off because people will pay up for his pieces. You just might have to wait for the right buyer. And in my case, well worth the time investment. So next up, okay, I was checking out, yakking with the girl at the counter, and the guy at the counter across from her was like hanging stuff up to put out on racks, and he pulled out this pair of pants, and I was like, excuse me, can I see those pants, please? And all I had to do was see this and these flat back pockets. And I was like, can I buy those, please? And he hands them to me. He's like, sure, great. So these are like late 90s or Y2K vintage Express. Anybody who's about my age remembers this Express label. Cargo pants in this like dusty purple. And they just have every little detail that I think is going to sell these. So first and foremost, it's got like a velvet details, right? So that's velvet flat pockets. Look at the pockets, they're beaded. I can't. This is over the top. So they have a drawstring bottom so you can kind of cinch them where you want. They actually have a little button so you can roll them up to capri length. Oh my God. And then they also have these little cutouts of this like super dark floral velvet. I mean, just everything about these pants is so of an era. Also the flowers all the way down at the bottom here. The only other sold comp on these that I saw, they sold for $100. So This is a perfect example of a brand that I typically don't pick up unless it's vintage, but just everything about these told me that these were gonna be kind of like a grail piece. So I would have to figure out how to photograph these just because that velvet is really, really dark and muted, but that will be well worth the time investment to figure out how to photograph those best. What an incredible Y2K find. I guarantee if they put those out on the rack, some teenager would have been by in 15 minutes to pick those up, you know? And then finally, oh, this was an exciting one. This in the dresses, and I believe this was half price as well, it was a Veronica Beard dress. Now, I've only found one other Veronica Beard piece, and it was unfortunately damaged, but this is long sleeve, all over lace, which really works with the fashion today. This is kind of like an unconventional lace application. This is like a true midi length skirt. It's a sheath silhouette, high round neck, zip all the way up the back, in perfect condition. Again, this was probably worn once. Veronica Beard, if you are unfamiliar, crazy, crazy expensive. This probably retailed like $500. And on the resale market, I will probably see, you know, $100 to $200 on this. That's about where the sold comps were. There are a few listed right now that are in like the $278 range, but I think that they're new with tags. And this is basically like new condition. Just absolutely gorgeous. Again, something that I found when I was flipping through because the lace felt so nice, but very excited to find this, very excited to get this listed. And with wedding season coming up, this is like a perfect forever little black dress. But guys, that is it. That is the haul for today. What fun. It is always so fun to take a little departure and really just kind of focus in on those special pieces. You know, at the bins, depending on the day, I'll pick up a lot of bread and butter stuff, just depending on what's available to me. But when I go into a thrift store, like I am going right past all of those bread and butter pieces that I would have picked up at the bins. And I just really get to focus on the special vintage pieces, the special designers, and the special fabrics and all that kind of stuff. So this is a fun little departure for me. So all in on all of this, I spent about $208, and in terms of resale value, I've got somewhere between like $1,500 and $2,000. So again, this is something where I have like a lower quantity, higher quality. So just a different approach, higher investment, higher reward. But guys, I appreciate you so much hanging out with me and nerding out about some of these things. I know we are all so busy, so I appreciate you taking a little bit of your time out to hang with me. It is truly an honor and a privilege, and that honor is 100% mine. But if you guys had fun, please consider leaving a like or a comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. All of that helps me out so much with YouTube. But without further ado, guys, I hope you have the most beautiful week. Happy hunting, and I will see you all in the next one.